like time of a year is basically the best thing I can do for my soul. I'm super happy to be back in Slovenia before my next adventure, and that's why. And you're back. Okay, sorry about it. So yeah, what I want to talk about today is I saw on my Facebook that today is the mark of 2 years since I recorded my first video and published it online. And I remember it was when I was in Canada and I didn't have a clue what am I doing. It was just my inner urge for sharing a message was so strong that I just had to do it. And today I decided to watch this video from 2 years back, and in my opinion it's terrible, but still, I mean, it's still in YouTube because I just love to see my progress, and I love also people to see that there is a progress once you started. It's like, I mean, it's not that when you go in front of camera you just become like, I don't know, super good. Hello Tiasha. So yeah, Tiasha, that's why I'm at home. It's cozy. And yeah, I decided to talk a little bit about the fear that is holding us back from actually talking what do we believe it's true, and especially from talking about our opinion or just saying out there what do we mean or what do we feel deep inside it's true. And the funny thing is that usually people will say to you it's a fear. It's a fear of just being exposed, fear of other people's opinions, and that's true, it is fear. But why the fear is popping up is something that can go very deep. And I decided to record this video especially because I have a lot of friends from London that are just deciding to start a coaching business, or basically they wanted to share their message out there. And they have been asking me a lot of times, so how do I start? Where should I start? Or should I just like do Facebook Lives, and even though I'm terrified of them, or should I just like, where is this like starting point? And before I go in this like main advices that I want to give you if you're thinking about starting to record yourself or starting to expose your message out there, I just want to share with you what are the possibilities that are holding you down. So what are those situations that are not allowing you to speak your truth? It doesn't necessarily have to be online. It can also be related to whatever you're experiencing in your real life. So especially if you have, I don't know, members of your family that are not into this kind of thinking, and you just don't know how to approach them, you just don't know how to say to them what do you think about stuff. And first thing that I want to expose here is that when we start talking about something that, yes, it might be very true in our heart, but we haven't talked about it before, usually people start labeling us and we become the weirdo. And the very crucial part when you start exposing your message is that you're aware that you will need to lose your identity, because people are labeling us with specific labels, who we are or how are we behaving, how are we seeing the world. And if we have never spoken our authentic truth, then of course their perception of who we are is not necessarily in tune with who we really are. So if I go back to where I started, it was basically, for me it was like this. I started recording videos for myself. I didn't want to publish it. My first agenda was not to publish them. It was only for me, because I had this urge in myself that I want to see what's going on with me during the days, or it was kind of like my diaries, but I didn't have time to write on everything, and I couldn't capture all the emotions. So I just did like a 30-day video challenge for myself to actually see and just say it out there, what I was doing, what I was experiencing. And then what happened was that on the day, I think it was day 8 or something, I realized that one of my biggest fear ever was what will other people say about me. So when I had this realization, I was like, oh, I have to publish everything online. And I was going over my fear with like just doing it. And this is one way how you can overcome your fear. And it's probably, I won't say it's the only way, but it's a crucial part. But you don't need to start there. It's the hardest way to start. So I started with just exposing myself there, even though I was terrified within. And probably now that I look back and now that I understand a little bit of psychology behind, and especially the like fear-based behind, I wouldn't do it the same way. I wouldn't just do it. I kind of believe that even though, yes, we need to go out of comfort zone, I feel that we are pulled towards things that we should do. So you will always feel the urge to record. You will feel the urge to expose yourself there. So I always say to people, if you come to the point where you have the fear and excitement combined, then you have to do it. Then it's your time to do it. However, if you're not excited about it, not even for a little bit, if you're just terrified, then it means it's not your time yet, and that's okay. And here is a problem. The problem is that usually people are watching the rules of how to get successful and online and how to do, coaching industry or just sharing the messages. And they're all saying you have to do videos. And who is setting up the rules? We are all souls and we are all guided by our inner system. So your inner system will tell you when it's the right time for you to expose yourself and share a message. It's not necessary that when all the other people start doing it, that it's also your timing to do it. So don't if you don't feel like it. But there, if you just go step by step and you just start exposing, messages, and you just write something, you post a blog or whatever, then you will see that eventually you will come to the point where you see the excitement of thinking about recording or doing something in this area. But here's a thing that I want to share with you. It's a very deep experience that I had, and before I actually heal it, I was not so comfortable going live, and I was not comfortable in public speaking. And the funny thing is that even though I wasn't okay with it, I pushed myself, but I always felt terrified while doing it. I was before going Facebook Live, I was preparing myself, okay, I can do this, it's okay. So I just did it. Now it's zero fear for me to do it. But I healed so many things that, I said I want to talk about them today because usually people don't think about them. So the fear of public speaking is basically one of the major fears that people have. It's number one fear, and it's higher than a fear of death. So people are more afraid of public speaking than they are afraid of dying. This tells a lot. But why? Why is it so bad? And the thing is, I realized this for myself. I'll tell you my story so that you will know why I feel this way or why I'm talking about it. And then we will just, conclude it. So what happened to me, it was last September. It's a very weird story, very weird. Probably the weirdest I will ever share with you. So what happened was, it was a full moon in September. And it was a point where I was just I really want to do a business out of this. I really want to go deep into coaching industry. I want to really expose myself and talk about those stuff. I felt like being a spiritual teacher and talking about spirituality, but on the other hand, like even last year in September, if we would be in a public place, I would be afraid to say the word soul out loud because there might be people that will hear me. So I was like, okay, this is like very deep within and I want to have a career out of it, and I'm not even able to talk about spirituality, even though I feel this is what I came here to do. So what happened was, it was a full moon and I did one of the rituals that are like for full moon. So I did like a cup of tea and I placed some intentions in this cup of tea, and the intentions were I placed the intention that whatever needs to happen in order for me to overcome those fears of like just exposing myself and talking in public, let it happen. I was like, I want this career, I want to work as a coach, I want to work as a speaker, whatever needs to happen, let it happen. So I placed these intentions in a cup of tea. So this is like a ritual, I can share it with you if anyone is interested. And I did it for full moon, and I placed the tea out somewhere so the moon like just do the magic on it. And the next morning I drank this tea. And then what happened is that since that day and for the next 10 days straight, I had every single night a nightmare where I was basically tortured or killed or anything like this happened to me, and it was basically my seeing of my past life. So this is the weirdest thing that ever happened to me, and it lasts for 10 days straight. So imagine, I place the intention out there, and it's always I say to people, when you place the intention, when you place your goal, you don't know what needs to happen for you to be that person. You don't know what you need to go through in order for you to heal this wound or whatever. So for me, eventually what needed to happen is I needed to heal my past lives where I was killed because I was talking about truth, because I was speaking out the truth. And I thought I'm going crazy, literally. And I was back home at that time. And I remember it was for 10 days, no one understood me. I was just like, what I did for 10 days, I don't even have a memory of those days, like it's gone. I just remember that whenever I woke up, I knew that what I saw there, it was me, like they were killing me. And I was, I was just crying all the time. I was just having a nightmare, so I was basically sleeping for whole 10 days, journaling, reading about past lives and reading about stuff everywhere, because at that point I didn't know Theta healing. I didn't know any healer out there who can help me. So I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna deal with it by myself. And all the people around me were just like, we don't know how to help you, we don't understand what you're talking about. It's like, are you mad? What's going on with you? And I was just like, calm down, it will be fine, I have to deal with those stuff by myself. So I did. And the reason why I want to share this with you, you can see that I'm sharing this stuff like a year after a year. So, sorry, basically I wasn't ready to share those weird stuff online. But now I feel like sharing it because I'm coming across a lot of people that are having similar experiences. They're thinking that they're going weird. They just hear some stuff, they see some stuff, they become like their third eye is just exposing and they just see, sense, they can predict the future. And they're terrified. And if you don't have anyone to guide you when those situations are opening for you, it's basically very scary. And when I went through this situation, I was able to, it was like even just, I don't know, a month afterwards, it was so normal for me to talk, like in public places or anywhere. It was just like it became natural. I was like, this is weird. It didn't totally go away, but like majority of the fear was gone. Totally. Like exist at all. And afterwards, when I started doing healings, I also healed some other stuff. So basically now I don't feel like I have any fear of talking publicly about the weird stuff. And I already know that majority of people, like, either they are agreeing with me or they are not. It's like their opinion. But I felt like sharing those messages with you, it's kind of making me happier and satisfied, because I did expose something. I did say something that no one is talking about, and it's so crucial. And if you are experiencing it, you just feel like you're a weirdo. Oh, I'm really happy that it helped you blush. Yes, it's like there's so many layers of this fear that we can have, and it's like, it's crazy, because we never thought about, oh, maybe you died in a past life because you were talking about truth, or you're talking whatever you wanted. So of course there is a fear. And oh, that's a good how I knew that basically I was dreaming my past lives. It was like since I was 4 years old, I had nightmares about frogs. So I have a huge phobia on frog, and I'm still healing on those, because I still feel like a bit scared when I see them. And it was repeating for me through all the childhood, and it was always the same nightmares. It was always the same. Like, I was lying in the bed, and there were like hundreds of frogs, like, just jumping towards me. And during those like 10 days in September, I also dreamt about like this lifetime when this happened to me. So I understood where the fear is coming from. So I was like, it makes so much sense. And it's so funny, because I was a child when this started experiencing to me. So it's like, it was always there. I didn't like made it up or whatever. And if you watch the movie I Origins, it's actually the same connection. It's like what happened to her in the past life, she had it in a new life again. So it's very interesting once you look into these situations. And if you heard about it right now, you probably heard it for a reason, because there is something in you. And you know, the beliefs, or basically whatever the fear that we have of public speaking is going, it's not necessary that it happened to you, but it's something that was forbidden once. And since it was forbidden, we all store in our DNA that it's still forbidden. So even the Darwin's theory, whatever they were, whatever was useful for them, for like any species, for survival, it's written in your DNA, so it stays there. And it used to be good for us to survive if we didn't talk about whatever was on our mind, because the society didn't allow it. So it still is there in our DNA written. Now it's forbidden to talk about whatever you feel like. So even though the laws are gone, we still feel it within. So it's interesting, because once you start like digging deeper, it's a very interesting experience. And then you will see that basically it will start clearing up with the understanding. It starts clearing up. And also for me, once I understood, this is a very good example, once I understood where the fear for frogs is coming from, I understand them, and I'm able to consciously say to myself, I'm not afraid. But my first reaction is still the same. So whenever I see a frog, I still run. And then after 3 seconds, when my conscious mind is on, I'm like, no, Taja, you're not afraid anymore. But the first reaction, a subconscious level, is still the same. But when you heal the subconscious level as well, then the fear disappears. Then you're free. But we have some work to do there. It's like, it's deep down. Yes, exactly. I totally agree with you, Blush. It's exactly like this. If it's the feeling that we have around it. And if we don't understand it, if it's something that especially if no one talked about it. It's like you really have this feeling that you're going crazy, and you feel like you're from another planet and no one understands you, and it's like, it's just so weird. And that's why I also decided to like just started this like Let's Talk Deep, because we are not talking about those stuff, even though they're happening everywhere, because the consciousness of the planet has to elevate, and it will elevate only if it starts awaken more people. So people are start awakening, and they're just starting to have these realizations, but they don't know what's happening. So until like we start talking about it like exposedly everywhere, it's like people will still live in the fear. And when I started before talking about London and the coaching industry there, it's totally different than in Slovenia. It's in London is a lot about it's a lot of how should I say, competition, and they're creating the FOMO effect, which is fear of missing out. So whenever you go on an event or anywhere, it's just you have this fear of, if you don't start doing Facebook Live right now, then you are missing out and you'll be gone, because now it's time to start it. Forget about everything. Forget about all the rules out there. Forget about everything that people are saying to you. When is the right time to start? What should you do? How should you expose yourself? You have an inner guiding system that is telling you exactly when is the time. And whatever feels right for you to share with the world, just share it. First, it can be other people's messages, and you just share videos and like content from other people. Then when you feel like you can write something, and then eventually you start like creating your own content out there. And I know that majority of people that is listening right now, they're going in this way, because the urge for contribution is just so strong that you just want to talk about those stuff. You want to talk about whatever you healed. And that's good, because you healed yourself for a reason. You walked your path for a reason. And there are people that are still walking the same path. And if you can help them, why not? I mean, that's the beauty of it. So that's basically all I wanted to say. If there's any questions, I can have them now. Otherwise, I will just chill out with my cup of tea. I love this environment. Good. So thank you for joining in. Talk to you soon. I hope it helped you. Take care. Bye bye.